Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to learn our most important topic, that is the constants. It is asked in the every interview, especially for the freshers. This question will be the must, and the interviewer favorite topic is the constants only. So let's go and understand what is the constants and what are the things we can see inside the constants and how we are going to write the constants. So what is the meaning of constants means? Let's take one example. So let's take, this is one table, and here the username, and we'll take an other, then here we will take one age. Okay, here we will take an user id. Here we will take a other number, and here I will take a username. Okay, here I will take username. See here, user id will be the unique, right? 1, 2, and 3, like that it is going to increment, right? Other number, let's take you are having a different other number, your friend having a different other number, and your parents are having a different number, right? Other number, wherever you can see, it is the unique, right? It is the unique, we can say, right? So while you are storing the details in the table, if you are not written any constants, if you are not written any constant, that time what happen means, here the user enter their other number and username, and second user also enter their other number and username. Here third user by mistakenly enter the same other number as the first user. That time what happen means, it will take, no problem, it will not show the any error, right? It will take, but while fetching the details, here the duplicate data will be found, and you can see here that time the other number is a problem, right? Here the confusion is happen, whichever the user entered, which one is a correct one, here confusion will happen. And if you are updated one user detail based on the other number, means two user details will be updated, here problem will occur. So what we can do means, while creating an table, we will specify some of the rules, like this column should be the unique, this column should be the unique. That time what happen means, if a user, third user, try to enter the same other number as the first user, that time it is automatically show like it is a error, you cannot enter the same other number. Here what will happen means, initially it is going to show that while inserting AND data, it is an error, you cannot add the details, right? So while creating AND table, we are giving some of the rules for the specified column. That thing we can call as, and that rules we can call as an constants. Constants are the rules applied on the table column to maintain the data accuracy, consistency, and reliability. That thing we can call as an constants. Constants are the rules given to the column for a validation. That thing we can call as an constants. So we understand, right? Other number can't be a duplicate, right? It should be a unique. Like that, every user has its name, right? It cannot be a empty, right? Every user has its own name, right? It can be a same, but every user, every person has a name, right? So it cannot be a not null, we can say, right? It cannot be a empty, right? After that, we can say if the user can vote, eligible to vote or not. That thing we can check, right? If the user is age is greater than 80, if the user age is greater than 80, means he can eligible to vote, right? Here we are checking, right? This is a check, we can check constants, we can say, right? Like that we can see the constants. Why we need a constant means, if you want to maintain the database cleanly, that time we are using an constants. Constants, why we need means, it is a prevent the invalid data, right? We are going to prevent in the initial time itself, while you are inserting an data, it is going to show an error, right? That time it is a prevent the invalid data, about the duplication, maintain the accuracy, improve the database reliability. That's why we need an constants, right? We understand here, if you are not given an constants, and if you are inserting the same other number, that time there is no issue, it is going to show. But while fetching, while updating that data, that time here the problem will occur, right? So that's why we need an constants. And types of constants, we can see primary key, unique, and not null, default, and check. We will understand these constants one by one. Okay, we will go with the unique first. Unique means, we understand that one, right? In other, here other number itself, we understand that one. Unique means it is not going to take a duplicate value. Every other number should have a uniqueness. That thing we can call as an unique. If you are define the constants as an unique, means it is not going to take a duplicate values, and it is not allow the multiple null values, right? Only one null value it is going to be take. If it is a table, means here the other number means if you are taken as a other number, there here in this column we cannot see the duplicate value. It is not going to take a duplicate value in the same column, and it is only allow only one null value. We cannot insert the multiple null values, we cannot insert, right? That thing we can call as an unique. While creating an table, we are going to give this unique constant. We will understand that one while creating an table. So for example, email ID and user name and mobile number, all these things are unique, and we will understand the not null. Okay, like here let's take one table. Inside the table, here user ID and user name. Here let's take, in this world every user, every person has its own name, right? So the username cannot be a null or cannot be a empty. That thing we can define using the constant, that is the not null, right? Here the value cannot be a empty. Here let's take 1 and 2 like that. Here is there, and here some of the details are there. Here the phone number is there, here the user ID is there, here the username is there, here the phone number column is there. Let's take here your return and phone number and some other details, but here you are given an empty as a username. That will be not allowed if you are written as a not null, right? Every person has a name, so that thing we can call it as a not null. So name must not be empty, right? Age cannot be a blank, right? Every person has its own age, right? City cannot be a blank in the forms, right? This thing we can call as a not null constants. We are giving this a rule to the column, so that is the constants. Next, default constants. Default means, let's take if you are not selected anything. Let's take if you are open one form, right? If you are open one form and in that here the gender is there, inside the gender female, and here okay, here let's take one form is there, and inside one form here the gender is there. Inside the gender you can see a male and a female. Sometimes the defaultly the male will be selected, right? So that thing we can call as a default constants. So it is a default value selected, right? You can change that one, but defaultly while you are opening that one, you can see one default value is selected. That thing we can assign using a default constants. It is assign a default value if no value is provided. If you are not selected here, if you are not updated that one, this one only is selected. So default it is going to be selected. Default value we are assigning, right? Here the default city is Bangalore, right? Default status is active. Like that we are going to define a value, right? That is the default value we are defining. That thing we can call as a default constants. And check, I have told you, right? If the age is greater than, if age is the greater than means greater than 18 means he can eligible to vote, right? If the salary is greater than 0, we are going to provide some increments. If the marks between 0 and 100, we are going to check that condition, and if the condition is true, we are going to provide some details, or if you are providing some of the things, if that condition is true, that thing we can call as a check constants. Here you are going to check that condition. Let's take here we are having an election table. Inside the election table, you are inserting some of the details who can eligible to vote. That details, that user details you are inserting in one table means here the user name is there, and here the age is there. Here the age means by inserting into this table, it is going to check the user age is greater than 18 or not. If the user age is greater than 18 means we can insert the user details easily. If the user details is less than, means age is less than 18 means here we cannot insert that user detail because he is not eligible to vote. Like that we are going to set some of the condition here using the check constants. And the primary key, okay. Primary key is the combination of, primary key means it is the combination of the unique, right? We understand that, right? Unique we understand, and not null, right? That also we understand. It is a combination of both. It is a combination of the both. That is we can call it as an primary key. Here let's take one example. Here we are having one table means inside that table the primary key is uniquely identify each row in the table. Let's take here you are given as a primary key means primary key. If you are given as a primary key, here this column has a unique value and it cannot have the null value, right? It is each row it is going to identify the unique in the row. We can say identify the each row in the table. Uniqueness it is going to identify. Here the primary key means it is uniquely identify and it cannot be a null. Each table have a primary key, one primary key it should have, right? That thing we can call as an primary key. It is a uniquely identify each row and it cannot be a null, and only one primary key per the table. Here student roll number is the primary key. If you are taken as a student roll number is a unique and not null, that is a primary key. If you are taken as a student roll number primary key, here every student has a unique student roll number, right? Different roll number they should have, and every student have the roll number, right? No one should have a null value, right? That thing we can call as a primary key. And employee ID, Aadhaar card number, this will comes under the primary key, and we will have a foreign key also. We will understand that one while learning the joins. Okay, this is about the constants. Next class we will understand how to write that one. Okay, we will do one thing, we will understand here itself. Don't worry, I will explain that one. Okay, we enter the password, and we will do one thing here, and I will create one database, and database name I will give as a hospital, and we are successfully created an database with the name hospital, and we are going to use this database hospital. And okay, we will create one table, create table, and here we will give a table name as a patients. Okay, we will give a patient ID, and it is a int, and we are given an int as a data type, right? We will understand this one in a previous class itself. We understand this one. Primary key, and here the name varchar and here we will give a 30 and not null. Okay, then admission date we will give admission date, it is a not null. Billing amount decimal, and here 10 comma 2 scale and the precision. Okay, see here we are created and table, create a table patients, and the PID int primary key we are used here, name varchar and not null, admission date not null, and billing amount decimal, like that. Here you can use more constants, right? Let's take for one operation the age should be greater than 20, so we can give here check constants, and we can take age. Here age is greater than 20 or not, that thing we can use. So this is how we are going to use that one. Here we are going to give the column name and the data type and the constants. Constants means rule we are giving for that columns. We are specifying some rules, we are giving some rules. So for the validation of data we are giving some of the constants, that thing we can call as an constants. And this is about the constants. This is the most important topic. This will be asked in the many interviews. They are going to ask what is the primary key, what is the characteristics of the primary key. You can say it is it will not accept the duplicate value, it will not going to accept the null value, and it must be a unique and not null constants. Only one primary key in that column, and primary key is not like mandatory, but highly recommended, we can say, right? That is a good thing if you are define that one. Like that, they can ask a primary key, what is the primary key and characteristics of that one, unique, and can you create one table using the constants, and what is the foreign key, what is the difference between the primary key and foreign key. All those things will be asked in the interview. So foreign key we will understand in the joins, because you will understand much more there. So we will understand that one there. And if you have any doubt, let me know in the comments. So create one table and comment below how we are going to create the table using the constants. Okay, see you in the next. Thank you.